Hey Girlie. France often presents itself as a global champion of freedom, equality, and human rights. But there is one law that continues to spark anger, confusion, and global debate. Why does France ban hijabs in schools? And more importantly, who does this ban actually affect? Today, we are breaking down the real reasons behind France's hijab ban, what the law actually says, and how it impacts Muslim girls and women living in a country that claims to protect personal liberty. To understand this ban, we have to understand a uniquely French concept called laïcité. Laïcité is France's version of secularism. It was designed to keep religion separate from the state, especially after centuries of conflict between the Catholic Church and the French government. The goal was to ensure that public institutions, including schools, remained neutral spaces where no religion held visible power. In theory, laïcité was meant to protect freedom of belief. In practice, it has become a tool to regulate how religion appears in public life. In 2004, France passed a law banning the wearing of conspicuous religious symbols in public schools. This includes Islamic headscarves, Jewish kippas, and large Christian crosses. On paper, the law applies to all religions equally. But in reality, Muslim girls were and continue to be the primary group affected. For many Muslim students, the hijab is not a political symbol but a personal or religious choice. The law forced families into an impossible decision: education or religious expression. French officials argue that the ban protects young girls from religious pressure and ensures equality inside classrooms. They claim that schools should be places where children are free from social or religious influence. Critics, however, argue that the state has replaced one form of pressure with another. Instead of protecting girls' choices, the law removes them entirely by forcing compliance with a narrow definition of neutrality. The impact of the hijab ban has been significant. Muslim girls have been suspended, sent home, or excluded from public education for refusing to remove their headscarves. Some families have turned to private schools or homeschooling, while others have watched their daughters drop out altogether. Human rights organizations have warned that this policy disproportionately harms Muslim communities and restricts access to education, particularly for young women. France expanded its approach to religious clothing beyond schools. In 2010, the country banned face coverings, including the niqab and burqa, in public spaces. Officials framed this as a security and women's rights issue. However, studies show that only a very small number of women in France wore full-face veils. Critics argue that the ban did little for safety and instead stigmatized Muslim women, reinforcing the idea that their bodies and clothing are a public concern. Supporters of France's hijab ban insist that the law is about protecting secularism, not targeting Muslims. Yet reports from the United Nations, Amnesty International, and Human Rights Watch have raised concerns that these policies disproportionately impact Muslim women and girls. The United Nations has repeatedly stated that banning religious dress interferes with freedom of religion and expression when it is not strictly necessary. For many Muslim girls in France, the hijab ban sends a clear message. You are free, but only if you look like everyone else. You are equal, but only if you erase visible parts of your identity. This contradiction lies at the heart of the controversy. A law meant to promote neutrality ends up defining which identities are acceptable in public spaces. Hey Girlie, this debate is not just about France. It raises a larger question that many countries are now facing. Can a state claim to defend women's freedom while controlling what women wear? Can equality exist when the law forces certain groups to choose between education and identity? France's hijab ban in schools shows how easily freedom can turn into regulation when fear, politics, and culture collide. If this video made you pause, that is the point. Laws shape lives, especially for young girls who have no voice in writing them. Subscribe to Hey Girlie for more honest conversations about women, power, and the laws that quietly shape our freedom. Share this video if you believe education should never come with conditions on identity.